I go upstairs. I trug upstairs like a drunk man to my bedroom upstairs, and my two sisters, Marie and Della, they were sleeping cells next to mine, and I took off my tennis shoes, my shirt, everything. Put this old nightgown on my mother had made out of some bleached flour sacks. You know, in those days, flour used to come in bags, up to 100 pounds sometimes. And they had an Indian head on some of those bags. I remember one time Mother was whipping one of the girls, one of my sisters, and after she had her pull her dress up over the head and grabbed it at the top, there wasn't nothing left but bare behind. And I could almost see that Indian on the bag laughing, you know. But anyhow, I put this old nightgown on. My mother made out of some bleached flour sacks. She made sheets and pillowcases and things like that out of those bleached flour sacks. And I kept pacing up and down in the room, wondering what in the world had happened back there in Lover's Lane.
You didn't have any idea?
No, I didn't have any idea. After I heard those shots, I didn't know who was shooting who or nothing. So I kept pacing up and down the floor, and it seemed like the veins in my leg wanted to jump out. About a couple hours later, I heard a knock on the door. And if you've ever done something you shouldn't have done, you've been foolish about, when you hear that knock on the door, it seemed like a hurricane had come through. It was shaking the whole house. And it was the police. Now, the police had come out there, and about 30 automobiles had followed the police out there. And all the headlights were shining right in the doorway where my mother was standing.
Oh, that must have been so frightening.
They knocked on the door, and my mother got up and said, "Who is it?" They said, "The police. James Cameron live here." She said, "Yeah, he's my only son. What's the matter? What's he done? What is he in trouble about? What do you want him for?" She was full of questions. And they said, "Where is he?" She said, "He's upstairs." But she began to cry and get hysterical. And she grabbed the collar and said, "Tell me what's wrong. What's my son done? Why are you arresting him?" And they didn't give her any answer. I could hear him coming up the steps. I ran and jumped in the bed. I hadn't been in the bed before. And I pulled this old bleached sheet over me, and I could feel the beams of the flashlight coming through the cover. They said, "Get up out of that bed and put your clothes on." I got up and put my clothes on, trembling, shaking, not knowing what to expect. And they said, "Did you tell your mother what you and those other boys did tonight?" I said, "We ain't done nothing." They said, "The hell you haven't. You went out here and you shot a white man and raped a white woman." I said, "I don't know nothing about that." And they said, "Come on, the chief wants to see you." They hustled me downstairs, and by this time my wife was having a fit. She's climbing the walls. She's begging the police to take her instead of me for something I had done. In a way, I had started the whole thing off when I held up the people. And I always felt bad about that part of it. But as far as the killing and raping was concerned, I had nothing to do with it. But the police wanted to make out like I did, and they did make out like I did. But they took me down to the police station, and I noticed when I got down to the police station, there was a crowd of whites on the corner, right in front of the police station. And they had come there to gather information as the police was giving it to them about us being arrested. Tom and Abe had already been arrested. I didn't see them after that. The last time I saw them was when we was out there at the scene of the crime, and I handed the gun to him. I hadn't seen them since then, and I was never to see them again except as a beaten body.
So they put you in they put you in separate cells?
Oh yeah, sure. There's 3 stories on the jail. They put me in one part, they put Abe in another, and they put Tommy in another one. Now Tommy and Abe was on the first floor. I was on the second floor, right up over Tommy's apartment.
And so they must have been caught like immediately.
They must have been. Well, the way I understand it, when those shots were fired out there in Lovett Lane, a farmer living overhead on a hill heard the shots and grabbed a shotgun and went there to look to see what it was. The moon was shining bright as it could be. And he said he saw 2 colored boys get into a car and drive off. And he described the car as a 1920 26 Ford Roadster.
And so that identified your friends immediately, because there couldn't have been that many cars around.
There were 2 cars around. One of them was cold and the other one was hot. The hot one belonged to Thomas Shipp. And they arrested him, and then I guess they found out about Abe and they arrested him too, and then they came after me. There were 3 of us caught.